Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to My Money, Your Money, where we talk about all things money with the goal of closing the racial wealth gap. My Money, Your Money is brought to you by our generous sponsors, Demesne and Dover Accident Attorneys, the Palm Beach Solid Waste Authority, the AARP, and FAMU Married. I'm your host, Brigette Lumpkins. I earned an MBA from Wharton, and I've worked at such firms as Goldman Sachs and Barclays, serving both institutional and private clients, as well as raising capital for investment funds. Today, I'm excited to welcome two guests, so it's a party. Dawn Obidiebube and Robert Parson. Dawn is the chair of the Build Our Economic Wealth Initiative for the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Gamma Zeta Omega chapter. And Robert is the Economic Development Manager for the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, otherwise known as MDEAT, our very good friends here at My Money, Your Money. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So from what I understand, you Alpha Kappa Alpha Gamma Zeta Omega chapter and MDEAT have partnered to host an event called Building Wealth Through Small Business Ownership on Thursday, May 18th. And that's going to be at the Betty T. Ferguson Recreational Complex in Miami Gardens. And you guys are working together to produce this very high level networking and game changing resource event in our community. There will be a panel of experts, vendors, showcasing the financial and business resources necessary to elevate their businesses to new heights of success. So there's more information available about this event. We're going to talk about it, but you can also check it out at miamidade.gov/economic advocacy trust.
Yes.
So thank you both for joining me. First of all, I'd like to know a little bit about each of you before we get started. So ladies first, Dawn, if you don't mind.
I am Dawn Obidiebube, and I work for Miami-Dade County. I work for the Internal Services and the Budget and Finance Department. I am an almost 40-year member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I am the current chairperson of Build Our Economic Wealth.
Great, that's awesome. Congratulations on almost 40 years. And Robert?
Yes, I'm Robert Parson. I'm the Economic Development Manager with Miami-Dade County. I've been an employee in the county for over 26 years, and my charge is service.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Well, I'm sure you've seen a lot of change in the last 26
Yes.
years. I originally moved to Miami 20 something years ago, and the change I have seen has been, remarkable. And I think MD it's really important to make sure that Black people in the Black community who were here before continue to get to take advantage of that. So and benefit and be enriched by it. So I do have some questions for you both. How did MD and AKA get together to host this program?
Well, I'll go first. First, I want to thank Indeed and the City of Miami Gardens for partnering with us on this venture. The Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust is constantly promoting events to build personal and business wealth in the community. And as the chairman of Build Our Economic Wealth for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Gamma Zeta Omega chapter, I felt it would be excellent to partner with Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust on a project that targets small business. And that's why we're here.
Great, that's awesome. And from your perspective, Robert?
Well, we were given an opportunity to work with the sorority of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated to do this venture. Ms. Dawn spoke with our executive director, which is Mr. Bill Diggs, and he thought it robbery for us not to participate and help further the wealth opportunities for small businesses throughout Miami-Dade County.
Great. And so, Dawn, what is the goal of this event? What do you hope to achieve specifically?
So Build Our Economic Wealth is an international initiative of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. One of the strategic goals is to help our members and the community build generational wealth. What better way to do that than owning your own business? So what do I hope to achieve? I hope to provide small businesses in our community with the knowledge and resources to operate a financially sound business they can pass to future generations, thereby building generational wealth.
Well, that's a great goal. And certainly entrepreneurship has been the path for many people to build generational wealth and pass on businesses or at least the wealth to their children. Robert, can you talk about the value of building relationships and how having great relationships can help entrepreneurs build their business?
Well, relationships are key. Um, I believe that through partnerships and relationships with other organizations, some that do what you do and some that have expertise in other areas, can help further your business through either mentorship or assistance in helping people by word of mouth, because the best advertisement is word of mouth. And to know some people, what I was taught is not just knowing people, but know people that know you and like you for what you do. So you have to have something to bring to the table. And we're through these relationships is how we build and nurture these ventures together, because none of us can do it by ourselves.
Right, that's right. And while you were talking, something occurred to me because I think one of the barriers, right, to business ownership, and I think that can be overcome through relationships because this is how people in the majority community do it, or people in a Jewish community do it, right, or immigrant communities, their relationships with each other support their entrepreneurship. And one of the biggest barriers is finding capital or getting financing, capital being money to start a business. People have an idea, they're smart, they're hardworking, but they just don't have the money to put up to get a location, hire people, whatever. So how can those relationships be leveraged, especially with working with MD to get financing to start a business?
Well, there are a plethora of workshops that are going on throughout Miami-Dade County, and there are a lot of resources that are at these workshops. What I tell this business owners is, this is your dream. It's not my dream.
Mhm.
This is your dream. You have to have some intent with doing what you do. When we have these workshops, you need to come out. You need to find out what information is out there, what resources are out there to better help you get your business prepared to go after some of this money that's out there, because there's a lot of money out there. But if we don't put ourselves in the position to get the information, it's not going to fall out the sky. Opportunity doesn't knock on doors. You have to knock on the door and open it. And if you're
Right.
not willing to do that for your business, then you're wasting your time. Why are you in business?
Okay, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. And they can start by coming to the event at the Betty T. Ferguson Center on Thursday, May
Yes.
18th, hosted by Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Gamma Zeta Omega Chapter, and MD. So, Dawn, that is a great segue. Dawn, obviously, AKA is an international organization with over a century of service. And last year, your sorority launched its Build Out Economic Wealth Initiative as a part of its Soaring to Greater Heights of Service and Sisterhood campaign. What else is AKA doing to stimulate economic wealth in Miami-Dade County?
So this event is an example of how we're working to stimulate economic wealth in Miami-Dade County. But in addition to that, in the month of June, we have an initiative called Black Dollar Days in AKA. During the month of June, our membership is encouraged to spend $19.08 per day at a Black-owned business. Now, we know what 1908.
That's
That's
right.
the year.
Maybe you
That's
can
the year
explain
that
that to
Alpha Kappa.
our viewers who
That's,
don't know about AKA.
that's the year that Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded. So $19.08 per day at a Black-owned business. We have over 400 members just in our one chapter.
Okay.
And if each of them spend $19.08 per day at a Black-owned establishment, our membership alone will pour $228,960 into the community in 1 month.
Wow.
Now, when you add on the additional chapters in the surrounding area, that number increases exponentially.
Right. Right. That's right. That's great. That's a great initiative. $19.08 a day. That's a lot of money though for some people. people, but maybe I'm sure some will make up for it, right? Like,
And of course, some will spend more.
right? Some will spend more and some will, spend a little less. But as long as I love that initiative. That's great. And we spend that money really anyway. We just need to make sure that we're seeking out Black-owned businesses to make sure we keep those dollars circulating in our community.
Right.
Um,
We need to be intentional about it.
right. So, Robert, we've had other MD guests on here, but just in case our viewers didn't see those shows, can you remind our viewers, how are some of the ways that MD is working to help Black people develop intergenerational wealth in Miami-Dade County?
Well, Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust is we consider a four-headed monster. We have a legislative team. We also have a housing program. We have youth services, and we also have economic development. And what we do, creating generational wealth doesn't just come from small businesses. It also comes with home ownership. If we don't have home ownership in our communities, do we own our communities? That's the key. Most people inherit grandmama's house, or grandmama's house becomes a central point for people who are passing through that need somewhere to stay. So we want to acknowledge that home ownership creates the neighborhood. It gives you ownership. It helps you demand certain things, you know. Creating businesses, that's great. And home ownership sometimes helps you create a business.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people refinance or use their houses to create small businesses, or they start their businesses within their homes. We have youth services. We have to prepare our young people for the future. We're doing career to pathway opportunities throughout the schools in Miami-Dade County, starting in middle school, to give these young people an opportunity and an idea of the things that are out there besides being, just to run mundane type jobs that we see on a daily basis. Because if you're not exposed to opportunities, do you really think they exist? The opportunity has to be put in front of you for you to know that there are things that are happening outside of your neighborhood. That's why I tell people we need exposure. Our young people need exposure. And television is not the exposure that they need.
No.
They need something real, something tangible that they can see and put in front of them and know that I have the opportunity to do just what these other people are doing in a different way.
That's absolutely right. Representation is so important, and people need, what's happening on TV is you might as well be trying out for the NBA. I mean, that's not necessarily viewed as in the realm of possibility for a kid, sitting in Liberty City who, parents don't speak English or something like that. You know what I mean? And so it's really tempting to get caught up in what's immediately around you. And so you need to make sure what's immediately around these young people is something positive to strive for.
Definitely.
So I love that. You said something that really caught my ear, and this is a little, and I don't know if this is your area of expertise, but you mentioned the legislative arm of MD, and there's a lot going on legislatively in Florida and in Miami-Dade right now. And so one of the things that I've wondered is the security of MD and its position legislatively, and if there are any vulnerabilities there, given sort of some of the appointments we've seen elsewhere in the state and the county in particular. So if you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it, or you can defer to your colleague in the legislative division and I will invite them back and grill them on sort of some of the political priorities right now to make sure that MD continues to exist going forward.
Well, I would like you to invite them as well, but I can say a little something because with economic development, which is my division, I speak on all the different issues that are going on. Because
right.
When people say, well, what does ND do?
Mm-hmm.
I have to have a complete, full answer to explain to people that we have multiple tasks that we're taking on. Like right now, our legislative body, our legislative team, they're doing a disparity study. We need to know what are our shortcomings among Black people that we feel that we need, that we can go fight for.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't tell us, everyone's has something different that they're looking for and expecting from Miami-Dade County. Mm-hmm. So right now we're going through all of that information. We're going from county line to county line, giving these communities the opportunity to come out and explain what they feel that they need. What do they feel are the shortcomings for their communities so we can better help them do what they need to do.
And that's a qualitative study, or is it also quantitative?
Both.
Okay, got it. So you're going to have like stories and some numbers to back it up.
You
And then
gotta
what?
have numbers.
So you get the results of the study, and then what happens?
Then that's when we go to the county government and we
Okay.
explain to them what we need in our communities. But you
Okay.
have to have facts and numbers to show them. Talk is cheap. We need
Sure.
to know and be able to see that this is where we feel that we're not being represented enough in our communities.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good to know, and I look forward to seeing that study. I don't think I'm going to like what it says, but I think it's important to see.
Well, the
And
truth is hard.
yeah, it just according to what I can visually observe, but I think it's important to speak truth to power, right? And get and keep and keep the pressure on. So I want to pivot back to the event because that's really what we're here to talk about. I got a little distracted because legislative matters fascinate me and they're so important to our economic well-being. But Dawn, can you talk to our viewers a little bit about when they attend this event, what they can expect to experience?
So when you attend the event, you can expect a high-level networking, game-changing business insight. For the first hour, there is a panel discussion to discuss the essentials of having a financially healthy business. We're going to start from the very beginning, from the very basics of starting a business and walk you through the entire process. We have so many mom and pops here in Miami-Dade County that are lacking in some areas of structure, and we want to make sure that they get the information that they need to have a strong, financial sound business. We are inviting bankers, loan officers, credit repair individuals to come and talk to you one-on-one to talk about your specific situation in hopes that we can help to propel you to the next level. So we're not leaving anything out. Our panel discussion will be for the first hour, and then the networking portion of the event is the second hour. We will have some music, little entertainment, as well as light refreshments. But we're not focusing on food. We're
Right.
focusing on financially sound businesses.
Right, of course. Understood. Understood. So when you talk about everything they need, will there be any sort of takeaway materials like a toolkit, like a financial model or a budget spreadsheet or checklist, that kind of thing that people can take if they, or questionnaires, self-assessment tools to explore
We,
that?
we will have a gift bag, which will have
Okay.
a lot of goodies in it.
Okay, great. That's awesome. That's awesome. So Robert, and I guess this goes back a little bit to the question I was asking before, which is like, what are some of the challenges that you observe being active in MD and also having such a long tenure with the county that are barriers to the success and growth of Black businesses in Miami-Dade County? And what are specific things that MD's doing to address those issues, aside from the disparity study, since you already told us about that?
Well, the hard truth is most barriers are the businesses themselves. Um, they're not prepared um, financially, marketing wise, um, technical assistance they need. Um, I do a lot of workshops and I speak with a lot of small businesses throughout the county. And when you talk to them, you realize that some of them need a lot, some just need a little. Everyone is different. But the ideal is that this is your business. If you plan on growing it, you have to do the necessary things that are needed to do to propel your business to the next level. Because I've listened to people talk about I've been in business 20 years, but you're still a mom and pop. The mentality has to change. We have to get past the mom and pop mentality and scale our businesses. We're trying to leave something for people, but if you're still leaving a mom and pop, how much is that to leave? You want to have something that you can scale, grow, and employ your community. That's what strengthens your community. Work, you know. And so what we continue to do is we continue to have workshops. We continue to bring our partners in to explain and talk, mentor, teach, and help them to get the understanding that they need. But guess what? I can't do anything if you don't show up.
Right.
You have to show up. The resources are there. You're failing because you failed to comply and participate in some of the activities that are going on that are for you and are for free.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mhm.
Well, and I can imagine also that, say I'm a business owner who's been around for 20 years and I've got my, like, I don't know, my dry cleaner in one location, right? And I'm not George Jefferson. I haven't, expanded to 5 locations or 7 across the area and moved on up to the east side or whatever. So say I, feel stuck in that and I attend, but the implementation might be a challenge too. How do you support people in actually executing what they
That's why we ask them to come to the workshops
okay?
because we have people that can do technical assistance for you. Sometimes it's just little things of getting the word out that you are in business. You know, besides just the people that you know in the family and a few friends, you got to reach beyond that for people to know that, hey, I'm in business. Because if people don't know you in business, are you really in business?
Right.
Are you really in business? So we bring people that can help take you step by step and get you to the next level. But you have to be there to get this information.
Right. Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And yeah, and there are a lot of resources out there and other businesses whose business is to help businesses, right?
Right.
And so that's great that you're providing that level of resource and support. Don, back to you. What else can we expect from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Gamma Zeta Omega chapter in terms of economic advocacy?
Well, this initiative, Build Our Economic Wealth, has several facets to it. And one facet, first and foremost, is to make sure that our members are living a healthy, wealthy life. So we have started the Gamma Zeta Omega Wealth Institute so that our members can be trained on what's wealth and the benefits of managing investments,
Mm-hmm.
savings, and planned giving.
Okay.
In addition to that, Alpha Kappa Alpha very soon is launching the first Black female owned, sorority owned credit union.
Oh wow, that's amazing. You're gonna have
Major
like pink and green credit cards.
Yeah, but we're moving to the black, pink, and green credit card.
Black and pink and green. I'm sure there's going to be a pink and green design. Like you have to have that.
Yes, yes. So the credit union is going to be a digital institution, and for all of the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha and all of the organizations and businesses that are associated with our illustrious sisterhood. So we're looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to the wealth that that will provide for reinvestment into the community as well.
Absolutely. Owning our own institutions is really important. We had Terry Williams from One United Bank on here a couple of times. And after the first time I went and opened an account at One United Bank, so important for us to support and have those institutions available to us. I think we lost video on Don. Okay, there you go. All right. We lost you for a second, but we're glad to still have you. So I love that. I'm really excited. What's the timing on the new credit union?
Well, we just finished our South Atlantic Regional Conference, and they told us any day now.
Okay, so it's imminent. All right. Well, kudos. I love that initiative. That's amazing. Robert, what is on the calendar for the rest of 2023 for MD?
Well, Black Business Month is August, the whole month of August.
Okay.
And Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust has been charged with partaking that for the county. Last year we had it, and was the first year that we ever did anything with it. And this year we have a plethora of opportunities and workshops, expos that are going to be out throughout Miami-Dade County for small Black businesses to take something tangibly away from. We're also going to be giving out another round of grant money for startup businesses, 0 to 2 years of small businesses, and we're going to help assist with some of the SunBiz tax, the licenses, some business, the down payments, and monies that will help you just get off the ground to better move you along instead of the struggle. We understand that starting a business is very hard.
Yeah.
And the first couple of years is the hardest. So we're going to try to give you a boost in what you do and support you along the way. So this is some of the main things. We also have June is Housing Month. We'll be having housing workshops throughout Miami-Dade County. So we are here to help this community to grow and make sure that we have something to say at the table.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited about what Indeed is doing in the county. And frankly, to be honest, before I did the show, I had no idea that Indeed existed or that there were such deep and such a breadth of resources available to people to get educated, to get support, to get financing, to get grants, to get other resources. It's really, really an impressive operation. And Dawn, thank you so much for joining us on behalf of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Gamma Zeta Omega chapter. And I'm so proud of everything you're doing. I think that's excellent. And Robert, thank you for your time. Finally, how can our viewers reach your respective organizations? Dawn, you can go first.
You can reach us on the web at www.gammazetaomega.com. And we are all social media handles as well.
Okay, super. And Robert?
www.miamidade.gov/economic advocacy trust.
Okay, so I want to make sure our viewers take this down because this is such an important event. Who is hosting it? Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, MD, and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Gamma Zeta Omega chapter are going to be hosting the Building Wealth Through Small Business Ownership event Thursday, May 18th, 2023, starting at 6 p.m. at the Betty T. Ferguson Recreational Complex. The address is 3000 Northwest 100 Gardens, Florida. And you can RSVP at www.bit.ly/MDEAT events. So thank you so much. And I think we can get that going across our screen, www.bit.ly/MD/bit.ly events. So thank you both so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being on here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Please watch our other MIA Media Group shows. Mondays, The Business of Black Business at 1 p.m. with Jay Reynolds. Tuesdays, My Money, Your Money with yours truly at 7 p.m. Wednesday, Soul at 7 p.m. with Nikki Gellin. Thursdays, Lunch with Legacy Leaders at 12 noon with Anne-Marie Sorrell and the legendary Chef Irene doing Flavor of South Florida at 7 p.m. And Fridays, 2 p.m., Black Health with Dr. Michelle Kerwin. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's work together to close that gap.